Well, kia ora everyone, my name's Rhee and I'm based on the Gold Coast working for Multicultural Community Council in the Gold Coast. And I'd firstly like to start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the lands on where we are all meeting and acknowledge any sorry business that may be occurring and acknowledge the elders past, present and emerging. Also, I'd love to acknowledge the organisers for these 2 days and also those who have already spoken and those yet to speak to us. I'm really looking forward to hearing all this great information. Now, you'll notice I've got these snazzy headphones on. I promise I will not break into Janet Jackson sound. Is that a bit better? And dance. Although, you know, exercise is good for us at this time. I'm working at the Multicultural Community Council and they are involved with lots of different work. We have a community development team. We do social support, education and training for Cert 3 in aged care and individual support. And we've been managing to place people, even through COVID, into the placement so they complete their work and go on to support the others that are working on the front line at the moment. Lots of work with youth and refugees and migrants, some aged care work, advocacy and events. At the moment, some of our events haven't been able to progress with the different restrictions, but we've found ways around it, as I'm sure many of you have. So today I'd like to tell you a little bit about a program that I'm looking after. It's called I Speak Your Language, and it's a volunteer-based program. It's statewide and it's a free service where we match trained volunteers to participants. They can be your neighbour, your family member, it could be someone who's newly arrived into Queensland or even from other countries and have been here a while. And it's all done once a week in their own language. So it's been funded for the next year, or basically from about May, because of COVID, as an initiative to help people keep socially connected. It's actually been running since 2017 in a very small, unfunded way in a partnership with Australian Red Cross. So Australian Red Cross manage a program called Telecross and Telechat, and those are 365-day-a-year calls as well as weekly calls for social connection. So it seemed great that we could partner together and we would support their program, but add some volunteers who could speak a number of languages. And that's been a really lovely partnership. And I think during these times, especially, we need to find ways to work together and collaborate so that people get the information that they need and that they feel less isolated and less fearful about our situation at the moment. So one of the cool things about the program is it has a 1-800 number, 1-800 95 40 40. I've got that down pat now. It means that people can ring this number at no cost. And why we have this number is for people to be able to ring and say they'd like a call to find out more information about the program, or for referrers or family members or community members or workers in other sectors in humanities or community services to refer someone. So I hold the phone initially. If I'm busy on another call, my colleague Jenny will answer. And if Jenny and I are both busy, we have our manager who takes the third call. So there should be easily able to speak to someone, whoever rings that number. It's online from 8:30 in the morning until 5 o'clock at night, Monday to Friday, and then it's turned off over the weekends. It's definitely not a crisis service. It's more a social connectedness and support service. And we're finding that the 1-800 number is working particularly well. So what's this all about? So the program, as I mentioned, has been running from 2017 to now. The All Hands is basically, since 2017, it started with about 10 to 13 volunteers. And since May, I'd say May, very early June, we've now grown that number to 127 volunteers with a range of languages. And the majority of those volunteers are fully trained, police checked, and supplied photos and information, and we've undertaken good training, as I mentioned before. The others within that number are those that are just waiting for their police checks to come back. We also reimburse the police check fee. It's something that we feel we can do to help people be part of something bigger than us and bigger than themselves. And it's just a small thing that we can do. The program used to call about 25 people a week, and we've grown that since June to 70 people at the moment. And some of those people are actually receiving 2 calls a week, depending on their circumstances and the volunteer's ability. Also, the telephone indicates initially we were ringing between 400 and 600 minutes a week. But with all these volunteers and all these languages, we're really doing about 2,500 minutes every week, which seems a bit insane. Average call is probably between 30 minutes and 1 hour, but we've had reports of much, much longer than that and also shorter. The volunteer makes an introductory call, and often that will tell you how it's going to progress. And we've had reporting back from volunteers where they've rung and met the person, and before they knew it, it was actually they'd been on the phone for 40 minutes for a call they thought would only take 5 or 10 minutes to introduce themselves and set up a suitable time to call. So here are the volunteers and all of their languages. So I'm not sure who is out there watching or who will be watching in the future. But this is as of yesterday, we've got 43 languages. And there's quite a mix there. And you'll notice that we've got English in there. And yet I've just told you that that this is to be calls in language. The reason we've kept that is because sometimes the people who want to talk to someone would also like to perhaps practice a little bit of English, or get some get to understand what they're saying and understand how they could say it better in English. So conversational English, and also understanding what different words mean, or the idioms perhaps, or the local colloquialized, terms that we use even here in Queensland as opposed to other states. So yeah, we get excited also when we get a new language. And some of the languages that we seek in our volunteers are actually dictated by the people that are coming on board. So for example, I'm just going to jump ahead and then I'll go back. When people call us and say, we'd like to have a call in Serbian, if we don't have a volunteer that currently speaks that language, we will go out and seek that person, and we try and get that organised and them trained within a week or 2 weeks at the most. Some of the more difficult languages have taken, I guess, a longer time, but when we do get that match, it's absolute magic, and people then feed back to us that it was worth waiting. Just going to jump back. We use social media a lot for this program, and we've got the support of Multicultural Affairs Queensland, obviously, as the funder, but we're also working very closely with Australian Red Cross, the Seniors Inquiry Line, and also Queensland Volunteering. Initially, we thought we were going to have to go to Queensland Volunteering and the Care Army and ask them if they had people with languages. But I'd sort of only just set that up to occur when the expressions of interest started rolling in the doors. And before we knew it, we actually didn't need any extra volunteering promotion. But we do keep informing people of the languages that we do have, and also the languages that we're looking for. And of course, we always try and, I guess, in our messaging, show faces of diversity to make people feel comfortable that whoever we would get to talk to them will understand not only their language, but perhaps some of their cultural practices and cultural well-being. So the calls themselves are once a week, and they're only a social chat. They're definitely not counselling or case management or advice or legal advice. We'd probably refer them to Wendy or people just like Wendy and Annalise. And we don't visit in the home. There are other programs, despite COVID, that are about visits to the home or to the aged care facility, but this is telephone calls only. We have been exploring video on phones, so we're just exploring how that will work, and we're wanting to make sure that it's going to be secure and confidential, and keep the boundaries in place, I guess, for the volunteer and the person that they're calling. You'll see there I mentioned about the police check. We are currently doing our training online. We would have preferred to do that in person, but also because we're statewide, we have callers from who are volunteers who are in Mount Isa, or they might be in Rockhampton or Cairns and or Roma, for example. And so this way online we can get everybody together, and they also get to meet other volunteers, and we go through everything we need to talk about. If you choose to refer, we have a referral form, which I'll provide Anthony and Stephanie so that you can have access to it, but it's also on our website. And we keep them informed. If the volunteer raises any issues that they hear from the person they're calling, and they know that they can't do anything about it, they will refer it to the program team, and we will work with the referrers to find a solution or pass that information to them so that they can do what they need to do, because they'll be fully informed about the person. It might even be a family member. Aged care facilities use this a lot, the service. As mentioned, these are the current, what our people that we call the languages we've got. And you'll see we've highlighted Greek, Polish, and Thai. These are the 3 languages that we're currently seeking at the moment for volunteers. So if you know anyone or you speak any of those languages and want to join our team to help people keep connected, we'd love to hear from you. Just call us on the 1-800 number. The referral process is really easy. It's a 1-page document with minimum information, but we can also do it on the phone. So if you want to ring that 1-800 number, I can actually take the details on the phone. We then look to match the volunteer with our team, and then we write a small profile with basic information that we give to the volunteer about the person they're going to call. And that's about us making sure that even their introductory call is friendly, and if they're to make them aware of anything that they need to be aware of. We have a number of clients or participants that we call who, for example, are experiencing and living with dementia, and we have special volunteers who have had extra training, who know how to take those calls and be patient and understand what might be happening for that person. Then also we have reporting, so the volunteers give us information back, and we've just had some magic stories. I want to just quickly tell you about one of our volunteers we matched in Croatian. They were from Croatia, and it became obvious that the volunteer and the person they were going to call actually came from a similar part of Croatia. And in fact, the older person who was being called had the same surname as the volunteer, or maiden name as the volunteer. And as it turns out, we haven't gone too far down that line, but it appears they may well be related. And so they have become firm friends. There might be a time when it gets to the volunteer not being a volunteer anymore and actually becoming a friend with that person for the rest of their relationship. And that's pretty special. We've also had people ring us and say, thank you so much, you've just made my mother's day. She lives out on a farm in regional Queensland, and she looks forward to these calls. She migrated many years ago, but to hear that language spoken and be understood has just been priceless for her well-being, as she finds that her health is, I guess, changing for her as an older person. So you can go onto our website, and there are lots of videos there in language. We have lots of flyers in language as well, and there are some YouTubes about the program when it was running at Red Cross a year or so ago. You can download the referral form, or you can do an expression of interest to become a volunteer. So I really wanted to share this with you, because while we're based on the Gold Coast, this is a statewide program, and we do know that multicultural people are living in pockets across Queensland, and that includes Beenleigh and the surrounding areas. And if this is something that might benefit someone that you know, we'd love to be able to connect with you and offer this. So that concludes my chat with you, and thank you so much for your time, and I hope this is of benefit to you and your communities.
Thank you so much, Rhee. And can I just say that Janet Jackson looks fabulous on you, and I think Anthony and I could agree that you're welcome to do performances in between presentations if you so wish.
I didn't get that memo. I'll have to consider that. You speak to my agent.
We'll note it down for next time. So,
I do find the quality is better with the headphones.
No, it's very clear. No, that was fantastic. We've got a few comments, Rhee. So from Wendy, great presentation. And Wendy forgot to mention that they have translated fact sheets through their legal centre.
Wonderful.
And Cheryl comment, great information. And I couldn't agree more. I actually couldn't stop smiling through your presentation. It's just a wonderful service, and we know the importance right now of
critical
connection. And also there's a lot of people, particularly in sort of that aging population, who are not so confident in the digital space. So being able to just pick up the phone and have social, lovely, warm chat with someone is really amazing. And hats off to you guys. And on a personal level, my background's Lithuanian, so I was stoked to see that Lithuanian was on there as well.
That's one. We only just got that volunteer, so we're super excited.
No, but 43 languages, 2,500 minutes each week. That is phenomenal. And it sounds like it would be something beneficial in the long term post-COVID.
Yeah, we're hoping so too.
Brilliant. Excellent.
Thanks everyone.
Appreciate it.